What's going on, Bills Mafia, Built in Buffalo fam? Welcome back to another episode of Off the Edge. Got another great show for you guys tonight. The Buffalo Bills, your Buffalo Bills, are quickly making a push to really just get into the playoffs here and make a push into the playoffs and go deep potentially. They got another big game coming up against the Patriots. Lost earlier in the year to the Patriots. Can they bounce back? We're going to talk about it right now. We're going to get into all of the Chargers, Patriots, playoffs, MVP talk, all of it. Let's go. Off the Edge starts right now. What is going on, Built in Buffalo fam? Welcome back to another episode of Off the Edge Live. I'm joined once again, by Izzy. As always, it's going to be a great show for you guys. I mean, me and Izzy always have a fun time here. We always, afterwards, are always like, that was just a blast. And I know you guys are going to have a good one again today. So, Izzy, though, how are you doing? It's Saturday night, day before the game, getting to crunch time, week 17. How you doing with the Bills in life in general, and just, how the holidays?
Holidays suck. My wife was in the hospital for a week, but she's home, so she's doing better. So that's good. Um, we had a death in the family on Christmas Day, but aside from that, I got some quality time with my kids on Christmas Day. We cooked dinner together, made dessert, had a good time, and so we made the best of it. But yeah, the holidays easily my worst holidays ever. But you know, I'm here, so let's do this thing.
Yeah, and I know that if there's anybody love to show support to Izzy here. I know it was a rough week for him, but we keep going, and hopefully that this weekend can be a little bit better, and the Bills can also make it a good weekend for everybody that's in Buffalo and just looking to get over whatever it is that's going on in their lives. So yeah, but we do have a lot to get into. We had a game this past week against the Chargers on Saturday. Now we got a Sunday game coming to Buffalo, last one of the last home game of the season, unless the Dolphins drop a game this week and the Bills beat them 2 weeks from now. We'll see. But before we get into Patriots, before we get into Dolphins, a little MVP talk, a little bit all that, we do have to go over last week's game a little bit, just a little bit. Obviously, the Bills come out, squeak by the Los Angeles Chargers 24-22. And, I think this was a game that a lot of people saw as it could be a trap game. It's a team that just fired their coach after a brutal loss to the Las Vegas Raiders. I mean, and it's a type of loss where everybody in the building, anybody even just watching the game as a Chargers fan, just wants to forget about that. And they come in and they play very well against the Buffalo Bills. They came out with energy. They looked like a team that was put together well and was coached, at least to say, hey, even though we have Keenan Allen out and Bosa out and Herbert out and all of these guys out, our coach just got fired. They say, hey, let's go and play some football. Let's go have some fun. Let's go, show people that we are not the team that got beat 63-21 by the Raiders. So they came out, they played well, and the Buffalo Bills, as much as it wasn't, a blowout, it wasn't a game that fans definitely left thinking, oh wow, that was a great game. They got the win, and that's the most important part of the game for Buffalo, is just you had to get the win, and a win is a win in the NFL. So I'm just going to throw the question out to you. What were your overall thoughts of the game here against the Chargers? And just, what was your after game thoughts of it?
So I was surprised that their D line played as well as they did. Missing Bosa, and Khalil Mack really wasn't as much of a factor as I thought he would be. I thought he would be. I mean, he was a factor. Just I don't think he had any sacks. I don't know. And their receivers, they have better receivers than people think. Quentin Johnston, is a rookie, not having the best of years, but still pretty good. And then you look at Palmer. He's pretty solid. Gerald Everett at tight end. He had a game where he made some plays and then missed some plays. So it was as expected from our defense to play as well as they did. But our offense, and special teams, Deontay Hardy, fumbling the ball, James Cook with 2 fumbles, one of them lost. It was a stink fest in that way where the Bills hurt themselves and put the defense in miserable positions. Their only touchdown came off of that Deontay Hardy fumble. So yeah, clean it up. And I was sitting there screaming, if we can get this guy off my team. But on special teams, that was really his only, mistake as far as I know this season. But because he's not been a factor on offense, I'm just like I'm over it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think it was one of those games again, like you said, it's just they lost the turnover battle. 3-0. I see even Roy brought that up here, lost 3 over 10. That could have gotten very ugly, and that was the only thing that really kept them in the game. I mean, when you look at how the game went and just the defense especially, because the defense, you look at the score, you say 24-22. Well, the defense, they allowed 22 points. That's again one of those things you have to bring in context now to how the defense played, because they did have multiple drives. Most drives, it seems like the Chargers were starting either close to the 50, beyond the 50, or about 20, 10, 15 yards away from the 50. So they were almost at midfield a lot of their drives, it seemed like. So the defense, I think, played a lot better than 22 points. And they continued to get this offense from the Chargers off the field. That's what and that's the number one job of this defense, is to get them off the field, where it just happened to be a lot of these drives they were able to get a field goal because they were in position. They only had to get 10, 15 yards. They only had to get one first down. So the defense for me played a lot better. The offense, again, like you said, had the turnovers. Josh had the interception, which, again, you don't want it to happen. It wasn't the worst play of all time, but again, you're winning. You're in a certain point in the game. You cannot, again, give them the ball back in that momentum building interception that could have changed how the game went, and it could have changed the outcome of the game with that momentum turn. It's in the third quarter, right? Beginning of the third quarter. So those have to stop. Those have to stop. We've been saying it all season with Josh. It's when you're winning, you have to protect the football. That's the number one thing, is especially when you're up and you're winning, you have to protect the football. And then you have James Cook fumble the ball, and it just, again, it could have gotten very ugly, like Roy said. So, but I will say that they weathered the storm. They weathered not necessarily even a storm. They weathered themselves, and they got themselves back under control towards the end of that game, and they come out with the win. So I think, this defense played well. Offense still has to fix some things, but again, I don't even think the offense played horrible necessarily, right? 24 points. If you get rid of the turnovers, they probably put up 30 plus. And, this we're looking at this game a lot differently. So again, just clean up the turnovers was the biggest thing for me. And, unfortunately, I had to miss. I was driving back from a family's member's house during literally the whole third quarter. So I did miss the third quarter, but I was able to catch up a little bit on it there after the game and everything. But yeah, it was a game that, probably should have been a wider margin of victory, but it's the NFL, right? We saw the Titans beat the Dolphins. We've seen the Jets beat the Eagles early in the year. You've seen the Bills lose to the Patriots early in the year. These types of games happen, especially after you just come off a game of a slacking of the Dallas Cowboys, who are a top tier football team. It's bound to happen of a game where it's going to be close. The Bills end up getting the win. So before we move on from the Chargers, I do want to ask you, though, when you were watching this game, what did worry you the most, just offensively or defensively, looking at this Buffalo Bills team?
I was watching Josh in his passing lane. See, there were a lot of open receivers that he missed. Diggs was open on a play where he was cutting across the field from right to left, and Josh threw it to Gabe, I think it was. And it was an incompletion, and Gabe wasn't wide open, but Diggs was. And so I think some of the stuff that's going on with Diggs is Josh just not seeing him sometimes. Earlier in the year he was force feeding him. Now it's almost like he's not ignoring him, but just not noticing him as much as he used to. And Matt in the comments here, hi gentlemen, Buffalo travel full country. Typically teams that travel across the whole country to play against an opponent going east to west, west to east, whatever. When you go from New York to California, you're talking about a very big distance traveled. You saw when we played Jacksonville and London, like they were already out there for a week, and we flew out that Thursday or Friday, and it just wasn't pretty, and you get that jet lag and you're exhausted from traveling. A lot goes into that, but came up with the win, and that's really what mattered. What bothered me more than that, though, was just the offensive line didn't seem to be in sync, or maybe the Chargers' defensive line just came to play. So
I I do want to build off of Matt's comment here of especially the end there. Plus, they went with a they went fresh with a new coach.
yeah,
I don't think people realize that can really change a lot. Like the Bills, yes, they have film on the Chargers, but they don't know how they're going to come out and play. They don't know what style they're going to come out. They don't know how they're going to operate now with this new coach. So that was definitely something that was great to see is the Bills adjust with them and say, hey, we don't know what's coming. We don't know what's going to happen here, but as the game went on, you saw them adjust certain different looks from the offense, and early on you saw a lot of wide open receivers, a lot of them. I mean, I saw Josh Palmer get wide open in the middle of the field sometimes. Gerald Everett was wide open across the middle or across the field sometimes. So that you saw minimize as the game went on. So it was nice to be able to see this defense make adjustments. But my biggest concern, back to the question, biggest concern has to be the continuous up and down of how this offense is going to look. And I think the offense has made very good strides. But again, when you were in the lead, the number one thing that you have to do is hold on to the football. And I believe every single turnover came with the lead. I believe the only one that might not have was Hardy's.
so I think we're
But
tired at that point, or
I think it was tied. I think it was real. It was. I want to say it was either tied or the Bills had just taken the lead. I'll have to look back at that one. But either way, 2 out of the 3 turnovers were definitely when they had the lead. That cannot happen, and it's just something that they have to clean up. It has to be a focal point of this offense when they're looking at it, because that's when the teams start coming back in these games. All season it's been that way, right? All season it's been the Bills get the lead. If they're looking good, the offense, yeah, maybe they stalled out, had a 3 and out here and there, but they at least aren't turning the ball over. They're keeping the lead. They're giving the defense a chance to stop them driving down 80 yards, right? They don't have to just drive 15 yards to get some points. But again, it's just they have to clean that part up. So that's the part that worries me the most, and that's the biggest part about going into this Patriots game that worries me is, again, the Bills should have a lead. They should lead majority of this game. Are they going to allow a Patriots team back into it by turning the ball over? So for me, it's just, again, hold on to the football. And the other thing I will like to say is Josh Allen, 5 rushes for 15 yards. I would like to see a little bit more when it comes to outside power runs with Josh rather than just going right up the middle with him. I know we saw it a couple times and it didn't really work too well. So I like getting him on the outside, getting a guard or even Mitch Morse to come pull on the other outside and just get 2 blockers in front of him and get them going. So that's one thing I'd like to see the offense get going there too, is Josh, just more outside power runs. But otherwise, again, I don't think either side, the defense, I think, played great. I don't even think the offense, without the turnovers, I don't think they've even played that bad necessarily. But again, they just have to clean it up. So any last thoughts, though, on just what worried you about watching this Bills team against the Chargers?
So for me, it's mostly this play of Josh Allen.
Yeah. I think that's how most people are, right? It's just, that's the unfortunate part of having a quarterback like Josh, right? He's gonna make a bunch of plays, but he needs to get smarter. This is year 6 at this point, correct? 6 in his career. And he needs to learn this, right? He needs to learn that this cannot keep happening when you have the lead. But they got the win. And I know everybody's kind of sick at this point. It's Saturday, day before the game. So let's move on from the Chargers game. Bills got the win. A win's a win. It's the NFL. That's the mantra we're going with for this week. So we can move into the little bit of a Patriots preview. Patriots, last time they played them, we all know how it came out, right? It's been brutal. They lost against the Patriots the last time out, and now it's coming back. It's a new quarterback this time. I believe it was Mac last time they played, and they lost to Mac Jones. Now it's going to be Bailey Zappi. So Bailey Zappi coming in here for the Patriots, coming to Buffalo, struggles mightily against cover 3. right? He has 4 interceptions on the year. 3 of them have come against cover 3. So what do you, when you look at this game though, not analytically, just looking at this game as a whole, do you see this game as another trap game for the Buffalo Bills coming off a game against the Chargers? Do you see it as 2 straight trap games, or do you think they'll be a little bit more prepared for a team like the Patriots?
They'll be a little more prepared for the Patriots. The Patriots haven't had a coaching change. There's no lack of tape or lack of film. We'll know how their defense operates. We saw it live against them already in New England earlier this year, and we'll see it again. Plus, the Bills, they understand what's on the line. They don't have to travel all the way across the country. They're home, where they're a lot stronger. I see a double-digit point victory for the Bills going into this game.
Yeah, I think, when you look at this Patriots team, they've had a very rough season. I mean, you have Ramondre Stevens now go on IR, especially this week. You got Kayshon Boutte, he's going to be out. I know he's not a huge role player for the Patriots, but he's, still not another weapon for them out. Cole Strange is on IR. You got Kyle Duggar's questionable. Jabril Peppers is going to be out. You have just down the line for this Patriots team problems all over the place. On top of it, now it's like, is this going to be the last time Bill Belichick comes to Buffalo as a New England Patriot head coach? So there's a lot of different things that the Patriots are going to come in here with, and a lot of questions about how they're going to go forward with it, because we don't know what this Patriots team is going to look like next year. We don't know if this is going to be, it's 2 weeks till the end of the season for them. We don't know if it's going to be that type of game where they're like, hey, we're going to give, some other guys some looks here. Maybe they do end up giving Demario Douglas the ball a lot more. Maybe Tyquan Thornton sees the field a little bit more, right? So you'll see these guys come in now. Maybe they'll have a different different angle at how they're coming, or maybe Bill Belichick says, you know what, no, this is going to be my last time probably as New England Patriots head coach going into Buffalo. I'm going to go out there and we're just going to come out with a game plan that they haven't seen all year. So I'm interested to see how the Patriots come out. But when you look at how the Patriots are playing right now, when you're looking at the Patriots offense, what's the 1 or 2 things that the Buffalo Bills defense has to absolutely do when they're facing this Patriots offense, in your opinion?
So Bailey Zappi, unlike Mac Jones, is kind of mobile, right? So you got to contain him to the pocket. He's got a little bit of that Josh Allen in him, maybe not with the same ferocity that Josh runs, but still can move, especially coming from where he came from in college, Western Kentucky, the Hilltoppers. Bailey Zappi's got a little bit better of an arm than Mac Jones, if you ask me. And he seems to have the support of his teammates more than Mac Jones did. And the Patriots fans, which, shouldn't be an issue because we're going to be in Buffalo. So it's not really a concern. I think that, lacking the weapons like Ramondre Stevenson are less of an issue because of Ezekiel Elliott's catching ability and his ability to turn upfield and make plays with his legs after the catch. But I think the Bills' defense is well prepared for that because of guys like Von Miller and Shaq Lawson. And I know people were down on Von Miller, but Von Miller, even though he's not getting to the quarterback and isn't really getting a lot of tackles, he's keeping the quarterback in the box. He's really sealing the edge really nicely and forcing the quarterback to either stay away from his side of the field and also being able to get into passing lanes for screens and such plays. So he may not be making the big impact, that the $17.5 million per year, defensive end should be making, but he is making somewhat of a difference. And guys like Shaq Lawson can seal the edge very well, and that's really all he does that great. Yeah. Hopefully, Epinesa is back, but Daquan Jones being back too is going to be a big help. I think that Zappi is going to need to be contained. That's the big thing. Contain Bailey Zappi so that way he doesn't have the chance to make passes down the field outside the pocket. He doesn't have the chance to run from us.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a huge word, especially when you have a team that has in the past had some issues with when quarterbacks get outside the pocket, having issues of deciding whether, okay, go after the quarterback or stay on your man. That's been an issue for this team. And I'm going to build off of you. You're talking about Ezekiel Elliott being a very capable pass catcher. He's very capable receiving back in this offense. And the biggest key to the game is containing Ezekiel Elliott out of the backfield in that passing game. The Bills have struggled over time with little dump offs underneath passes to running backs, letting them get that 7-8 yards. You cannot let that happen with this Patriots team. Or if they get into 2nd and 1, 3rd and 1 now, 3rd and 2, they're just going to say, all right, Zeke, let's just go run straight ahead. And do I have the confidence the Bills to stop them? Yeah, but I also still have confidence that the Bills will probably give up one or two big runs then, and who knows when it can come. It might even come at a very unopportune time. So to me, it's keeping Ezekiel Elliott contained in the passing game. Don't let him get into open space with 5-6 yards ahead of him, being able to either run somebody over or make somebody miss. Because this team, also as the Bills we've known, has had been up and down with tackling. They've gotten better over the season with tackling. However, Ezekiel Elliott is a he's a veteran guy who knows how to make guys miss, and he's kind of people gave up on Ezekiel Elliott. They thought his career is done, and he is showing that he's still got a little bit of juice left. He's still got it. And, he's not the Zeke that we once knew that, was winning Offensive Rookie of the Year and a huge part of that Dallas offense. But he still is a very smart runner. He still knows what he can do as a back. And he's a very capable pass catching back. So I think out of the backfield, you have to keep an eye on Ezekiel Elliott, or else there'll be some issues. So that's gonna be my key for the defense, is just containing Ezekiel Elliott outside of the pocket in the receiving game. So I don't know if you have anything else defensively that you want to build on for the Bills.
So I mentioned Shaq and Bond. Another guy who can help with that is Gregory Rousseau. Really good at smacking balls up into the air, allowing defenders behind him like Terrell Bernard to intercept passes. We may see some more of that. I see a lot of the short game being the Patriots' passing game, but don't let that fool you. Every now and then they'll throw one deep to what's his name? Got him from the Dolphins.
Parker, yeah.
He's still a good threat. He's a big boy, and if you put it up high, he can high point it. So he's really the deep threat that they're going to have. I'm not sure if Hunter Henry's playing or not, but if he is,
he's still questionable.
He has two big boys who are capable of getting up there and picking the ball up off the top shelf. So they have some.
Yeah, not to mention also Mike Gesicki there, the Buffalo Bill killer.
Man. But
lag in here.
A little bit. You might keep kind of stopping and then going again. But
yeah, I'll fix it here.
I see it being a game where we should be able to neutralize those threats, and you need to keep a man on Zeke. You can run zone, but you need to have I don't want to say spy, but just a man who's paying attention to where Zeke is at all times.
Yeah. All right. So I'm actually going to ask you a quick question about the Patriots, how the defense for the Patriots matches against the Buffalo offense and what the Buffalo offense needs to do. I might cut out for a second while I do that. I'll be right back in because I'm going to try to fix my Wi-Fi real quick. So you could go ahead. What is your keys to the game for the offense for the Buffalo Bills? And I'm going to fix this real quick.
All right. So keys to the offense for the Buffalo Bills is to be able to balance the run and the pass. They're going to have to be able to run the ball somewhat with Josh and or the running backs. When it comes to the passing game, they're going to really want to eat short and then take their shots. J.C. Jackson is back in New England, and in New England, J.C. Jackson has not fared well against Stephon Diggs, and I believe that Stephon Diggs will become a focal point in this game. There was a question in the comments earlier about about Gabe Davis potentially having a 100-yard game. He's got one more in him this year. He has 6 or 7 a year, always right around 800 yards, and 7 to 9 touchdowns. He's in that range now. He's got 1 or 2 more left in the regular season. Hopefully, he saves some of that for the playoffs, and Diggs goes out there and eats, and hopefully Kincaid gets himself back on track. I see a lot of James Cook, though, in this game. I know that Belichick may try and take James Cook away, and if he does, you have other options. But the Bills have so many different ways that they can attack. They just need to make sure they're calling the right plays at the right times to put this offense in position to, be successful. And Josh needs to be on his game. Again, he's home in Buffalo, where he normally plays way better. When we played the Dolphins, he had 5 touchdowns in that game, 4 through the air, 1 on the ground. So I think that this game is something that the offense can bludgeon the Patriots potentially. But they got to go out there and execute. They got to make the plays.
Yeah, I want to also build off of you were talking about James Cook a little bit and how you think he's going to be a very big part of this offense this Sunday. And we saw him have 20 carries last week, and it wasn't his best game, but he still, ran the ball 20 carries, 70 yards. That's not definitely by far not bad at all, but it's 3.5 yards per carry. You'd like to see that up a little bit higher to the 4. So when you see James Cook, you're talking about him being involved, 20 carries. Do you think you'll see another game of 20 carries, or do you think it'll be more of 10 to 15 carries and then get him heavily involved in the passing game? Which way do you see James Cook being used this Sunday?
So I'm gonna answer the question in the comments real quick. John Robert asks, "Is James Cook the first 1,000-yard runner since C.J. Spiller?" No, he's not. Fred Jackson had one after C.J. Spiller left, and LaShawn McCoy had a couple. Had a couple. He's the first 1,000-yard running back since LaShawn McCoy in, I believe, 2015.
I want to say 2017, but I'll look it up while you're.
It might have been 2017, the year that we broke the drought. But yeah, he's the first one since LaShawn McCoy, the guy. Right. So yeah, but I see. It really depends on how James Cook starts the game off. Like if he's out there breaking off 7-8 yard runs, they're gonna keep feeding him, just like they did against the Cowboys. Right? When we played the Cowboys, James Cook was feasting on that defense. And so if he does that to Belichick's defense, they're going to keep feeding him. Because Belichick's defense is one of the best against the run. But if he's chewing them up, then you let him chew up, and then you use that to run some of the offenses that benefit Josh Allen the most. And that's play action from under center. So, yeah, if he's eating, feed him. Feed him.
Yeah.
If he's struggling a little bit, then use him in the passing game, get him out in space and allow him to create that way. But the run game is going to really be determined on how the offensive line plays and then how he's able to see the holes, and he's going to have to hold the damn ball.
Yeah.
If he fumbles, I could see them going away from the run. I don't know who's going to be the backup running back, whether it's going to be the third running back, Ty Johnson, if he's healthy, or if it's going to be Fournette again. I don't care either way. They both played well in the last 2 games. So I've got no concerns with that. Oh, jeez.
Oh, getting old. You all right over there?
Amber alerts.
Oh boy. All right. Well, we'll
go ahead and go after that, and then I'm gonna go ahead and never mind. Shut off.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's been
both went crazy same time.
Yeah. Well, it's been a show so far, but yeah, I do also want to just say it was Jaden McCoy. We did have 2017, which was McDermott's first year here. It was his age 29 season, by the way. So if anybody's a running back enthusiast, there's here's another case of once they hit 30, kind of take a little dip there. But yeah, he had 1,138 yards that year, 6 touchdowns. So he did have 1,000 yards with us in his second last season in Buffalo when he was in 2017. But when you were talking about James Cook getting involved, James Cook to me, you have to, no matter what, have him involved, whether it is passing game or running game, right? And even if he does fumble once, I'm glad we're seeing, they might say, hey, we're going to give you another, maybe one drive or maybe a few plays to kind of get back into it. And they're not just sitting him for a whole quarter or a quarter and a half like we have seen in the past. So I think that's a positive you're starting to see is, even though, yes, James Cook has had some issues fumbling, which is funny because when he was in college, I don't think he even fumbled at all in college. I think he maybe fumbled once in all of his college career. So yeah, it's been, it's been for James Cook kind of maybe a surprise to see him fumbling this much in the NFL, and he's had his issues this season. But I think, he's a guy where especially, this fumble came late in the game. It's going to be now he's going to be extra careful saying, hey, I need to hold on to this ball because that could have mightily changed how the Chargers game went with his fumble. So I think James Cook, get him involved. It's going to be interesting to see how they use him because, like you said, they are a very good defense against the run, this Patriots team. And Bill Belichick also knows how to, even if James Cook is feasting in the first quarter, let's say, he knows how to have his defense adjust and maybe, maybe you'll see one quarter James Cook go crazy and then the rest of the game he kind of quiets down, at least in the rushing game. I don't think we'll see 20 carries on the ground. Is that a reaction to the Sabres game, by the way?
Sabres took the lead. They win.
Sabres took the lead. Oh, they won. All right, there we go. There we go. So there's a positive. Sabres win. Mid show, I know that was a game at 5 o'clock against the Columbus Blue Jackets.
Guys,
Must
if
be
you've
the
noticed
Sabres.
me looking away from the screen, that's what I was looking at. I got the Xbox down here with the Sabres game on. Let's go.
Oh, that's a huge win for the Sabres. Hopefully, though, I know I always say you always know I say it in the Built in Buffalo chat is there are two good things can't happen in Buffalo sports at once. Hopefully, I'm wrong this weekend and the Sabres win and the Bills win. But I know I always make that joke that two things cannot happen to the two Buffalo sports teams at once. But maybe this weekend's a little bit different. But back to a little bit of the Bills here. James Cook, that's going to be a key. I think my key to the game for the offense, though, is going to be getting Dalton Kincaid heavily involved. He's been very quiet recently. I know there's some talk about, he could be injured because of the fact that, he hasn't played his normal snaps. I think it's also just, Dawson Knox is coming back. They're kind of figuring out now how they want to use both tight ends. And, you're even seeing, just it's kind of that core five in the receiving game when it comes to outside of James Cook and Leonard Fournette and Josh Allen running the ball. You have the receivers. You have Gabe Davis, Khalil Shakir, Stephon Diggs, Dawson Knox, Dalton Kincaid. Nobody else last game got a target. Not James Cook, not Leonard Fournette, not obviously Ty Johnson didn't play. You didn't see anybody else get a target. Nobody else got a target last game. So I think this game, though, you need to see Dalton Kincaid get more involved. He had 2 targets last game, and when he gets involved, it seems like the offense just flows better, right? Whether it's getting it to him short, it opens things up deeper, or it even just opens up the running game because now they have to worry about Kincaid or even Dawson Knox leaking out on a play action pass, right? So I'm intrigued to see how Dalton Kincaid's used this Sunday. I think they need to get him involved more. You've kind of seen him get quieter towards this end of the season. I know some people are thinking injury, maybe it is, but the Bills would also have to report on that. But I'm interested. I think you got to get Dalton Kincaid involved. I also think that will help the offensive line because, like I said, in play action passing, when you have now, if you do end up putting Knox and Kincaid both on the line, I think that can open things up for the offense and just take a little bit of pressure off the offensive line, who, like you said, struggled a little bit last week. So that's gonna be my key to the game: getting Dalton Kincaid involved into against the Patriots here. I don't know if you had any other just any other talk about what the offense needs to do against this Patriots team.
Not really. I think I agree with you that Kincaid needs to be involved, and they really got to get him, out there in the passing game. But what it boils down to is feeding Cook, Kincaid, and Diggs. I think in this game are going to be key. Another guy to look forward to potentially. It's been a while since he's had a big game. Is Khalil Shakir. I think that the slot is going to be very important when it comes to how we play the Patriots. Getting first down specifically, I don't see him having a big game where he's putting up 100 yards. But when you need a first down, I think he's been reliable. And so I hope to see Josh utilize Khalil Shakir a little bit more.
Yeah, I do also want to just say one last thing I think the offense needs to do here is they need to just stop beating themselves with penalties. And
Oh,
that's one thing that we've seen is 2nd and 4, 2nd and 5, and then all of a sudden we just get a 10-yard holding or a false start or whatever it is to back them up, and they're rolling. They'll be toward midfield, then boom. There'll be a past midfield in a lot of points, and they'll be around the 40-yard line, 30-yard line, then boom, penalty brings them back here. That's one thing they need to clean up. 7 penalties last game for 64 yards. Obviously, could have been a lot worse, but could have been a lot better. It's just you need to clean that up, and that's one thing they think the offensive line has had struggled with throughout the year. Not too bad, but it's been costly penalties. That's the thing. It's not just a false start on 1st and 10 on when you're on your own 10-yard line. It's like we're getting, again, past midfield where the drive's rolling and it's just a drive killer. Boom, you see one little penalty here happen and it just shuts down the offense. So I think that's, to me, need to cut down on the timely penalties, because that's the big key thing that you're seeing with this Bills team is just beating themselves. And I think that's kind of the whole message for the offense is just don't beat yourselves this game, whether it's turnovers, penalties, or just even trying to do too much, right? Just take what's given. You have the talent. This offense is better than the Patriots defense. You know that you can win this game. So they just take care of the football and don't beat yourselves. That's going to be, I guess, my two keys to the game there. Just against this Patriots team. So yeah, it's got to be just that for me. Anything else before we get into a little bit of Daquan Jones and a little bit of MVP talk?
Let's do it.
Yeah, a little bit of which one are you thinking first, Daquan Jones or
Yeah, Daquan Jones.
Daquan Jones. So
I
what
think
to you though? Yeah, MVP could take a little bit, so we'll do Daquan Jones first. But Daquan Jones coming back was having a phenomenal season before he got hurt, right?
top 5 defensive tackle.
Top, yeah, literally, well, maybe even top 2 in the game at that point when he had the way he was playing. So he comes back off the torn pec. I actually didn't even see the video until today that Daquan posted. He knew right away, like there, right after he made the play, he literally got up and started walking up the field. And he looked at it and he goes, "I just tore my pec," which is kind of funny that he knew it. But he works his way back now. There was a lot of talk of if he would even be able to come back this season. Activated now. I'm not sure if we'll necessarily see him as much as we have week 1, 2, and 3. You know, we might not see it that much, but I think we'll see a good heavy dose of him, and it's going to be huge because especially the way Ed Oliver is playing too. That's what I think people aren't fully looking at is you have Ed Oliver now playing like out of his mind. He's playing like a top 10 defensive tackle in the game. He's coming up big plays at timely plays as well. So he's having a huge impact. Now you get to have Daquan Jones come back and help ease it up for Ed Oliver. I think now you're going to start seeing that defensive line become an even bigger force like we were seeing weeks 1, 2, 3, right? That's what people have been saying. Well, they haven't been getting as much pressure as they were. I think you're going to see it this week against the Patriots. You're going to see them containing Zappy, like you said, which was one of your keys to the game for the defense. And I think you're going to start seeing Daquan Jones get in there. You're going to see Ed Oliver continue his hot streak. Greg Rousseau, I think, will start getting going a little bit. If Epinesa plays, I think he can keep his going. So just down the line, Von Miller's got the brace off now. It's week 3 with the brace off for him. So he might be getting more comfortable. So this defensive line, Daquan Jones coming back to me, is not just a game changer when it comes to against the Patriots, but it's a season changer for me. Like you have now another guy that can be a game wrecker, not just another guy. Like it's not like you're just bringing back a third string, second string rotational corner or rotational defensive lineman. You're bringing in a guy who was playing at the top of his game for his career. So I think I'm excited to see him come back. So what do you think of Daquan Jones coming back? And how much do you think it will change the defensive line?
I don't think it's going to be a huge change this week. His first week back, he's probably going to need a little time. But you'll see him sprinkled in there, probably third downs. You'll see him in there. Maybe some second downs where if it's second and short, you'll see him get in there because he's just such a disruptor up the middle. But I think first downs you'll see either Poona Ford in there or Tim Settle, maybe Linval Joseph, but not Daquan Jones. You'll see him, on the gotta have it downs.
Yeah, I think when you have a guy coming back off an injury like this, where it's you don't want to rush him back, but you definitely want him to be a big impact in this game. Yeah, you need to have him on at least the big plays, the big third downs, big fourth and shorts, third and shorts. You need to have him in there, especially because we know what he can do. So Daquan Jones coming back, that is absolutely massive for this Buffalo Bills team. Well, not too much to talk about this week when it comes to Daquan specifically, just because we haven't seen how he's going to look. I'm excited though to see him. I know you're excited as well, and I know all Bills Mafia is excited to see him back. But let's take a move. Let's pivot here and take a move over to a little MVP talk. Oh,
you got that flag behind you?
Yeah. There we go. Oh, so you just got my flag onto your pillow there, huh?
I was like, I know that pattern. Where the hell is it? I was like, there it is.
Well, I'll actually be having a new setup in about a week or two. It's supposed to be a long time ago, but I was waiting on something to come in. So I'll actually have a new setup. This will still be in the background, but I'll actually have a new setup, which I'm very excited about for it to show everybody soon. But yeah, that's actually funny. I never know. I didn't even see that behind you either. When I don't know if it was always behind you, but I didn't.
No, I grabbed it a minute ago while you were talking.
Yeah, but yeah, no. So this will still be behind me though. This will still be behind me. But yeah, all right. So let's get into some MVP talk. I know you were excited to talk about it. I know I actually when I sent you the outline. Funny thing is, anybody that doesn't know, I'll send outlines, just like kind of just little overviews about what we could be getting into. We don't even get into sometimes all of it. And I didn't have MVP talk on there, and Izzy was like, "Well, what about MVP talk?" And I was like, "Well, we still do have a little bit of time, but it's heating up. I know. I don't know if you saw. I was getting into it a little bit with some people on Twitter a little bit this past week, getting into some MVP talk because I had posted something about just the MVP and Josh Allen deserving it over any other quarterback, in my opinion. I don't even think an MVP or a quarterback should get it this season. I just don't think there's been one that's been as good as a Christian McCaffrey has been. I mean, when you have Christian McCaffrey, I had the stat right in front of me. I believe he has 1,900 to all-purpose yards. So his all-purpose yards compared to the rest of the league, he has going into this week 1,932 all-purpose yards. Next closest is Tyreek Hill with 1,656. To me, he's going to break 2,000. I know it's all-purpose, but all-purpose, whatever. It's like saying Josh Allen's rushing yards or rushing touchdowns don't count. It's like no, he's has 2,000 yards. He's been a huge focal point for that offense. What is it? 21 touchdowns, I believe, for Christian McCaffrey. So I do believe he should win it. I believe he should win it. However, I think we all know it's probably going to go to a quarterback. It's just turning into that type of an award.
I mean,
So
the
I
last
do
one
think
was Adrian Peterson, right?
Adrian Peterson. Yeah, I believe it was Adrian Peterson, and then Sean
For him
Alexander
was Daniel
was.
Tomlinson, I think.
Did Sean Alexander win it before or after LT?
I think he got it before LT. I think it was like
Yeah, I think it was.
the 06 season or the 05 season. Because
Yeah.
he got on the cover of Madden 07 because of his MVP season. And
Yeah. So
06 is when Madden 07 came out, so he probably had it in 05 season.
yeah. Well, and then like as we were saying though, like it's not like you seeing it's not like you're seeing these guys get really talked about too much. Like that, I bring up Cooper Kupp all the time because Cooper Kupp, when he won the Triple Crown, he didn't even win it, right? Receptions leader, yards leader, and touchdowns leader. Out of all receivers, can't win it. That just shows how difficult it is for a non-quarterback to win it.
Did he win Offensive Player of the Year that year?
Oh yeah. He did.
Sure, because if he didn't win either one of those awards, he can kiss my. What it is, because that's nonsense. That dude balled out that year. He didn't have such a good year the next year, but that Triple Crown was something to bear witness to.
Yeah, no, it really was. He had a phenomenal year that year. That really showed just how good Cooper Kupp was. And we got another Amber Alert going on here for Izzy.
This one is a Blue Alert.
Blue Alert. Oh,
we got a lot of law enforcement officer.
Oh, well, got a lot of different stuff going on today for Izzy, but at least it's as long as
North Carolina. Luckily, nowhere near me. They're good. Both of those were hours away from me.
Oh well, that's good. That's the positive part. But all right, but yeah, we were talking about MVP. It's becoming just basically best quarterback award. It's almost becoming best quarterback on the best team award. So that's, I think, the big conversation when you're looking at this Lamar versus Allen is, to me, don't get me wrong, I just want to make this very clear, though. Lamar Jackson is an unbelievable quarterback in this league. He is top 3, in my opinion. I think you have Mahomes, Allen, and Jackson. I could see arguments for other people, but he's easily, to me, a top-tier quarterback in this league. He knows how to help his team win games. But when I'm looking at the MVP, if we're going based off of what we've gone off of past years, which is how much they account for their team's touchdowns, right? I believe last 5 years, every single quarterback has had at least over 72% of their team's touchdowns. Josh Allen, I believe, has 82% on the season, and 83. Lamar Jackson has in the 50s, right? That's a considerable difference. And I know I've heard people talking about, oh, well, Gus Edwards is taking away rushing touchdowns from him. If you take Josh Allen, and if you take Josh Allen's rushing touchdowns away from him, he still has more than Lamar Jackson. So when you look at it any certain way, whether it's analytically versus with EPA per play, Josh Allen has 0.24. I got it right in front of me here. He's got 0.2 against top 10 defenses this year. Josh Allen's number 1 in EPA per play at 0.24. the rest of the top 8, Lamar Jackson's number 4 with 0.11. So Josh Allen's doubled him. When you're looking at, even if you want to look at top 12 defenses, Josh Allen is still number 1 in EPA per play. Lamar Jackson is all the way down to 12th. It's just Lamar Jackson, great player. But in my opinion, we're seeing Josh Allen take on the bulk of this offense here, and you've seen it over the past 3-4 seasons. He's the first player ever to have 40 touchdowns in 4 consecutive seasons, and not one of those seasons he's going to get MVP. That to me seems wrong. So no matter what way people want to spin it, whether it's analytically, whether it's just by watching the game, because the people I've already said it this week multiple times, the amount of people that have outed themselves as not watching Buffalo Bills football is crazy to me, because I see people saying, well, Josh Allen's the reason they lost a lot of their games. To me, he's lost maybe one, maybe two games that the Bills, and because the Jets game is obviously one. That's obviously one. But 2, I don't even like. He has not played. Like, it's just so mind-blowing to me that people are making these comments saying this. Well, and every other Bills fan, the people that watch the games, even analytic guys like Dan Orlovsky's saying it, and he's been saying it for weeks. So to me, it's just, I know I just went on a little rant there, so I'll let you go on.
I'm gonna go on one too, so don't feel bad. You go ahead.
I'll let you go on a little rant, but I'm just last thing I'll say is it's no matter what way you spin it, it comes back to Josh Allen at the end of the day is more valuable to his team, and that's the name of the award. So that's all I got. I know you could go on your little spiel now, but that's all I got.
All right, so I agree with you on many points. To me, the MVP race really boils down to 3 guys right now, and that's Christian McCaffrey, Tyreek Hill, and Josh Allen. And I know my man Lance would be like, Tyreek Hill doesn't deserve a damn thing because he's a shitty human being. Like, I get it. Talking about the player here, not the guy. CMC is having an outstanding season, as you said. But let's not fool around with this. Josh Allen to me is the MVP this year. It's not close. The one argument you have is his record, right? But the whole turnover to touchdown things, like he throws a pick every game. I was like, okay, he doesn't. He's got a few games where he's got multiple picks. I'd say the 2 games that he lost us with his turnover issues were the New England game and the Jets game. The rest of them were mostly the defense failing. There were games where he didn't necessarily win us the game that we won. I'll say that. There were some games there, like the Giants game. He didn't win us that game. The defense definitely won us that game. But I broke it down even further than touchdowns, and I had one guy arguing with me, telling me that that's a statistic that no one ever, has brought up before is percentage of points actually scored by that player on offense. Because not all points are touchdowns. You have field goals, you have extra points, 2-point conversions. Like, there's more than just touchdowns, right? So if you look at, when I broke it down for him about Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen scores 59.5% of all points that this team scores. Lamar Jackson scores 34.5% of all points his team scores. That's double almost.
Yeah.
It's almost double. I could imagine the Ravens losing Lamar Jackson for a couple of games and still winning a couple of games with Tyler Huntley. Similar player. And they haven't been relying on their passing game like that. And their defense is number 1 in the NFL in points allowed per game. And the next closest team isn't that close. That defense is, it might be bordering on historic level defense they're playing right now with Roquan Smith, Patrick Queen, Humphreys. Their safeties are outstanding. Kyle Hamilton's a monster in his second year. That D-line is playing lights out. I don't know what people are on about. When your quarterback, Lamar Jackson, I'm going to be totally honest. I'm not really a fan. I don't think he's that great. I just don't. He's never put up the big numbers, and people will blame his weapons. It's like, all right, well, when Josh Allen had no weapons, he still put up 29 touchdowns in a season. And that was a 16-game season. Went to the playoffs, lost in the first game of the playoffs, but that was his first playoff game ever in 2019. Put up 29 touchdowns that year. And then he grew from there to having 4 seasons with 40 touchdowns. He had 3 seasons in a row with 700-plus rushing yards and 4,000 passing yards. Like I don't see the logic that's being used here in the argument for Lamar Jackson versus Josh Allen. I don't see the logic there, other than Lamar Jackson's team has more wins. But that defense basically carries them. It basically carries them. That defense gets them the ball back way more than any other defense in the NFL does. I'm pretty sure they lead in turnovers as well.
Yeah.
When your defense gives you short fields, it's easier to score. Easton Stick scored a touchdown because we fumbled the damn ball. This turd ran it in. He got a rushing touchdown. It was because of a fumble. When your defense does this for you, that's what's going to happen. You're going to have those moments. Now, totally expect the Ravens to go out there and mangle the Dolphins. You're talking about a derivative of the Shanahan offense that the Dolphins run. Brock Purdy and Tua are basically the same type of quarterback. Tua's just left-handed. Outside of that, they play almost exactly the same. Those two are on the same level, if you ask me. Tua and Brock Purdy. Similar type quarterbacks. Brock Purdy's a little smarter. Tua's a little more accurate. Outside of that, they're basically the same guy.
Yeah.
So those two, to me, are not in the conversation because if you look at both of their teams, they have another guy who's better than them in the MVP race. Tyreek Hill, Christian McCaffrey. So with them two and Josh for me, and if Josh wins these, or not Josh, but the Bills win these next two games, and Josh puts up, so let's say 2 or 3 touchdowns in each game, to me, that's the nail in the coffin. That's the award. And it's not said that Christian McCaffrey doesn't deserve it more, but we both know that that's not the direction the award's going.
Yep.
And he'll probably win Offensive Player of the Year. And rightfully so. Now, they want to give Lamar Jackson an award. I know everybody wants Damar Hamlin to give him Comeback Player of the Year because he was hurt those last 5 games last year and then didn't get to play in the playoffs. And then this year he comes back and has a very effective and efficient season. I won't say that he's a bad quarterback because he's not a bad quarterback. He's just not as great as everybody puts him up to be. He's a very effective and efficient quarterback. And when you need plays, he can make them. And that's not a bad thing. He's just – when I heard Cam Newton put him in the list of game changers, I was like, I won't complain about it. But
well, I think this 49ers game was perfect example of what the Baltimore Ravens season has been. They get the win. It's a very good win against a very, very good football team. Lamar Jackson played well. 252 yards, 2 touchdowns, didn't turn the ball. Like, very, very good game.
Efficient football.
Yeah. However, 5 turnovers from the 49ers changed the game early on, too. Because without those 5 turnovers, game's a lot different. And, Christian McCaffrey had a pretty good game as well. He had over 100 yards rushing again and another touchdown. And, it just, without those turnovers, what does the game look like? And everybody wants to talk about, oh, well, Josh Allen, he hasn't won certain games or he struggled against other teams. Are we going to pretend like Lamar Jackson's had a perfect season? Like, that's what it seems like, because when you go down their schedule, right, so far from this past season, you have 23 points against the Jags, right? Not much more than Josh Allen put up against the Jags. You got 20 points against the Chargers. That's less than Josh Allen put up against the Chargers, right? You got barely beaten the Titans. Another bad team. You lost to the Steelers, putting up 10 points. We're going to pretend like Lamar Jackson doesn't have duds of games? Lost to the Colts by 3. Now, that one wasn't Lamar's fault because Lamar had a great game, lost in overtime. But again, Josh Allen loses in overtime. Well, it's like, oh, Josh couldn't get the job done. Well, Lamar just lost in overtime by 3. Means he didn't put up a touchdown. So, again,
22-19 or 22-18, something like that?
22-19, yep, 22-19. And again, it's just it's funny to me that the discourse of NFL Twitter and NFL just talk is, oh, certain players play 16 games, other players play 2 or 3 big ones, right? Or certain players have these bad games, but others don't. Let's just ignore everybody else's bad games. No, this happens with every team, every player.
Every quarterback has an off day.
It's just for the fact that the Ravens have had a phenomenal defense. I mean, 3 points allowed against the Seahawks. Jaguars only 7. 19 against the 49ers. 20 against the Bengals. 10 against the Chargers. I believe that was prior to Herbert's injury as well. So that's against Herbert, right? I mean, you have teams, this defense is playing out of their mind. Even this, again, the Steelers game, they lost 17-10. That is Lamar Jackson's game of how Josh Allen's game against the Patriots went right there. Close game, should have won. The defense did their job. Offense couldn't put up points. And that's his game for this. But nope, doesn't happen for Lamar Jackson. So to me, it's wild to see how just NFL discourse has talked about the MVP and how it's changed, because every other year touchdowns have mattered. Every other year stats have mattered. But now that people don't want to see Josh Allen at the top, or they don't want to see a non quarterback get it, it's best player on the, or best quarterback on the best team. And that's what it's turning into. So to me, if that's what the award's going to be, sure, go ahead and give it to Lamar. And it seems like it's going to be going that way. And to me, it's just disgracing the award down the road, because it's going to keep continuing that way unless somebody says this year, no, Lamar Jackson was on the best team, yes, but Josh Allen was the more valuable player to his team, because we've seen what Lamar Jackson, or not Lamar Jackson, we've seen what the Baltimore Ravens have done without Lamar Jackson. They made the playoffs last year.
They almost
without Lamar Jackson. And they almost won a playoff game without him. Josh Allen, if he's not on this Buffalo Bills team, man, they win what, 4 games, 5 games, maybe 6?
You're pushing it, depending on who the backup is. With Kyle Allen, yeah, probably 5 games.
Yeah. So
with who's our backup last year?
Keenum last year. Keenum maybe 6, maybe.
We win 3 games with Barkley. Like it's not pretty.
Yeah, it's not. And, especially when we talk about the Bills too, it's like, well, everybody's talking about, oh, well, the Bills, they've had defensive guys go down and like crazy. Matt Milano, Trey White, Micah Hyde, Jaquan Jones. I know that obviously they're coming back this week, but they've been out for games and games. And guess what? Josh Allen still found a way to help lead this team to victory and get this team over the struggles that like they have midseason, over a offensive coordinator who now it seems like he was not capable of at least leading this type of offense to the playoffs or to a championship. And now you get a new offense coordinator coming in, and it's all of a sudden offense looking a lot better. Not necessarily perfect, but looking a lot better. So when we're talking about the MVP, it blows my mind. And I do want to bring up, I hope Beemon's still in here. How many people vote? It is 50. It's 50 national media members who vote on the MVP. I don't know the specifics of how you get picked to do it, or what media members it is, but it's 50 of them. They'll vote on it, and I believe they vote on it right before the week off in between the Super Bowl and Pro Bowl. Yes, which, let's be real, nobody watches the Pro Bowl anyways. But
it's more fun now. It's not just a game now; it's flag football and.
I was talking about that with somebody earlier this week. Actually, it's a lot better. Pro Bowl's a lot better. I know a lot of people still are saying, "Oh, well, it's flag football." It's better than watching these guys. I was talking about
flag football, tug of war. Like it's like when I was a kid, you watched Nickelodeon Guts. Remember back in the day,
mm-hmm.
Or like
they had a different version it was a different name for me, but they had like those games with
Wild and Crazy Kids and stuff.
Yeah. So I think it's a lot better. I would actually recommend people checking it out this year. Although still, there's one thing though: people do not take whoever makes the Pro Bowl to heart, because again, that is still a joke to a lot of people. But the game itself, it's a lot better. I know I believe the last one where it was like an actual tackle game was the year that Kobe Bryant passed, and that was a very awkward one because they kept on asking every player about it. So yeah, it won't be like that anymore. You'll have a little bit more fun watching them. So go check that out. But yeah, 50 national media members do vote on MVP. And we'll see how this year is going to be a big, it's going to really just tell how it's going to, like we said, the award, how it's going to be looked at going forward. If the voters are going to decide how this award ends up looking down the road, it's either going to be okay, Lamar Jackson wins, and it's very evident that it's just going to be best quarterback on the best team. If Josh Allen wins it, then it's going to be okay, well, it's no matter what, it's going to be a quarterback, and it's going to be whoever accounts for the most touchdowns and whatever. Or if Christian McCaffrey gets it or Tyreek Hill gets it, they're saying, okay, this award's going to change a lot, and the way it's going to be looked at is going to change a lot. So those 50 media members have a huge, huge, huge challenge on their hands.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind if Christian McCaffrey won it. I wouldn't mind if Tyreek won it over Josh, because their teams have a better records and they're clearly that valuable to those teams.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Allen is the Bills.
Yeah.
He is the Bills. The Bills don't go to playoffs 4 years in a row. If we get in it, it's been 4 years in a row. They win the division 3 years in a row. Go to the playoffs 4 years in a row. Maybe 5 years in a row for the playoffs and 4 for the division. If things bounce right. But you're looking at again with the Lamar stuff, right? He's got 24 touchdowns and 13 turnovers. Right? He's got 11 more touchdowns. Josh Allen has 40 touchdowns and 18 turnovers. That's 22. There's a lot of doubling going on between these two guys. Like it baffles me. But you know what? I'm okay if Josh doesn't get it. If Lamar goes off these next couple games, he puts up some 3-4 touchdown games. I got nothing to say. If he ends the year with like 35 touchdowns, or he's got 24 now, so that'd be a lot to ask for. But he could go off against somebody like the who they played the last week of the season, the Browns. No, he ain't going up against them. Could go off against Miami,
and then Steelers.
And it's Steelers they played last game.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I thought I played the Browns last. Okay, so yeah, he could go up against the Steelers, but I doubt it. Like that defense,
it's a good defense.
PJ Watt, Cam Hayward, Highsmith is balling out.
Fitzpatrick, Minka. Is he healthy? I believe he's healthy.
Yeah, he's healthy. Their corners aren't that great, but when that D line is not allowing you time and you running for your life, who cares?
Yeah. So I mean, it's going to be an interesting race. I know that we touched on a little bit as next week and the week, especially after week 18, it's going to be a huge topic of who really wins the MVP, which we'll dive into then. But yeah, it's something that I think, especially with Bills fans and with Bills Mafia and just with people that are a fan of Josh Allen in general, like a Dan Orlovsky or like somebody else in the national media, they're, I think, looking at it as, well, when is it going to be Josh's turn to win it? Because, again, he's the only player, nobody else in the history of the NFL has put up 40 touchdowns in 4 straight seasons. That's not an MVP in one of those seasons. I know the one year, which I think a lot of people still think he should have won it, was what the year Rodgers went crazy. So that was one of the years, which just happened to be unfortunate, because I believe if Josh puts up the numbers he did that year, it's not even a question. But when we're looking at this, it's funny because when we're looking at if you swap Josh Allen's numbers and Lamar Jackson's numbers, it's not even a question, right? Like, it's not even close. Or even if they had the same record team-wise, it's not a question. It's not even like nobody's questioning a thing of who's going to win MVP. It's going to be Josh Allen if they have the same team record. But no, one team's now better, and it changes a lot. So it's going to be it again, like we said. I know I just kind of basically said that this whole time, but it blows my mind that how we're looking at things with this MVP here, because every other way, it would be Josh any other year if the team was a little bit better. I'd love to see it, even if the Bills end up getting that win. Let's say there's no 12-man on the field against Denver, and the Bills right now are 10-5. Does that even change the way that people look at it? I think it does.
Or if they stop dribbling on that last drive the first time.
Yeah.
There's a lot of scenarios.
Yeah, so it blows my mind at how we're looking at it, but I think obviously people might call us biased or anything like that, but no, it's just looking at the past year's MVPs and how they were voted on. Why is it going to change now this year? Because of team records. That's the only reason people are changing the way they're looking at this MVP. So I think if we're going to look at it the same way we looked at it every other year for the past 5, 6, 7, 8 years, it's got to go to Josh Allen. If they want to give it to a non-quarterback, I'm also fine with that. I think we've kind of said that several times, but it blows my mind that we continue to talk about this and say, oh, well, no, we're going to change it just a little bit because Josh Allen's team record's 9-6.
So last year it was Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
The year before that it was Rodgers.
Rodgers, I think, won it, 2 years in a row.
Yeah, 2 years in a row. Then the year before that was Lamar. Then the year before that was Mahomes again.
Yep. Yeah. And they all ended up, I know a lot of people are saying, well, no, I saw this one it happened to be a Dolphins fan, which is the funniest part about the whole thing. Is this Dolphins fan just kept on letting me know that no MVP has. Oh wait, I actually think the comment's right here. Which I don't think this was. It was not Spin that was the one that commented it, but no MVP have won when the team does not finish first, second seed. It was similar to this one, but it was that no MVPs ever won the MVP award having more than 5 losses for their team. Which again, I don't know how much we have to say, but wins are not a QB stat. They're not. It blows my mind that people still think that.
Well, here's the thing: is that if the Bills win out and the Ravens kick the crap out of the Dolphins, like I'm predicting, the Bills are the 2 seed.
Yeah, exactly. So
that wouldn't make much of a difference either way.
Yeah. So I mean, we'll see what happens with it. And I know Roy brought this up: if they win Sunday, they do lock the number 1 seed up. They do lock it up if they win. So they probably wouldn't play Lamar. And I do see some. Even did see some fans also saying that. Well,
I would play him for a while in that game. I wouldn't let 2-3 weeks of rest. That's too much.
Yeah, no, I think we've seen it in the past too, where it hasn't always worked out sitting.
Yeah, you go out there, you give them, a quarter and sit them, or a half if you want to be bold, and then you sit them down. It is the Steelers defense, so I say a quarter. That way you don't have him going in there rusty after skipping, not playing for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
If you play today and you play next week, you didn't play for a week, right? It was just 1 week.
Yeah.
We're talking 3 weeks time. Like if they played that Sunday and then 1 week, no football. The next week, no football because you have a bye. The third week you finally play. It's a lot. That's a lot. Rust is a thing. I don't know how much of a factor it would play, but wouldn't be me.
Yeah. All right. Well, before we hop off here, actually, I do want to let you guys know. So we're gonna do our predictions and hot takes. I do have one question here from Roy that we're gonna get to after we do those because I also want if you guys do have any other questions, put them in now, and we'll save them. We're gonna do our hot takes and predictions first. So whichever one you want to do first, hot take or predictions, you can go ahead and give it to the people.
Well, predictions are a little quicker, so I'll go with that. I have the Bills winning 35-17.
35-17. I have a little bit closer.
Not 35-17, excuse me. That's for Bills Dolphins next week. That's what I'm thinking as of right now. For the Patriots, see, I'm overlooking the Patriots. The Bills aren't. There's a difference there. I don't play the game, so I can look over whoever I want. Bills Patriots 24-10.
24-10. Yeah, we do have a similar one then. I end up going with 23-13. And a lot of people are expecting 30 something to 10. I just think this Patriots team, even though they are bad, their defense is their defense is still solid. So I'm going 23-13. So we're a little bit similar there. Roy's out here, he's got 27-23. That's like I said, I don't think it will be as much of a blowout as people think. That's a little bit closer than I would have it, but again, I wouldn't be shocked. Maybe a little garbage time touchdown late for the Patriots to make it that score. But yeah, I just don't see this game. Don't see this game being a 42-6 game or 37-13 game. I just don't see that, especially with how this Bill Belichick defense can play. So we'll see. So there's our predictions. I'll do one of my hot takes first. My first hot take is going to be that the Bills get 3 turnovers against this New England Patriots team, and I think they're all going to be through interceptions. So I'm going to go 3 interceptions by the Buffalo Bills against Bailey Zappi.
Okay. I have one that's similar, but I got 4 turnovers, 2 interceptions, 2 fumbles. Believe that 1 interception will be Christian Benford. The other will be Tyrell Dodson. The fumbles I have coming off of sacks up the middle, pressure sacks, Ed Oliver getting to the quarterback, forcing a fumble out, and either Rousseau or Von Miller picks it up. And then the other one I have is a running back tackle. Zeke that tends to put the ball on the ground. As it's been something he's done his whole career. He's been a very good back in his career, but he's been a fumble guy. I could see a Daquan Jones lining him up in the hole, lighting him up, and the ball pops out, and then one of the big men in there scoops it up, or the guy who has the nose of the ball, Terrell Bernard, might have another 2 turnover game.
Yeah. So yeah, actually, I'll go then. My interceptions, I'll go with Bernard. I'm gonna go with Cam Lewis
Ooh,
and Teron Johnson.
I
He's had
like
a
that.
great year. In my opinion, best slot cornerback in the league. Teron Johnson, I think he comes up in big games. He's been known to make big plays at timely situations. So Teron Johnson, Terrell Bernard, and Cam Lewis will be my three. Little hot take, I guess, on Cam Lewis there. We got Roy does have one here. Von Miller gets his first sack. That would be a nice sign for the Bills. Just to see Von get going there a little bit. He has looked. I will say, I think he's looked a little bit better the past few weeks, especially since that brace came off. Obviously, not back to what we know he can do. So yeah, I think that's a very good one there as well. And then we got Spin here. I think Douglas gets one. He came close to jumping around his past few games. Douglas been phenomenal, man. He's really been an unbelievable pickup by Bean, and yeah, he very
Got
easily. Yeah, he really Bean nailed that one, nailed it. So there's one from Spin. I'll go my second hot take. I'm gonna go with Stefan Diggs. This I can't believe this is a hot take, but Stefan Diggs is going to get back on track and get over 100 for the first time in the 10 games now, or 9 games. It's either 9 or 10. I think that this would be the 10th. So 9 games. I'm going to go with Stefan Diggs going over 100 yards, which is crazy that that's a hot take now. So there's my second one.
okay. I have hot take. James Cook 2 touchdowns, one on the ground, one through the air.
Yep, I like that one as well. James Cook, get him involved, get him involved. That was a key to the game from Izzy earlier in this show. Sandra here, sorry, Sandra, mispronounced your name, but Sandra here has got last year's score at Bills 24-10. I'm guessing that just means your score. That's your prediction for this Sunday. Spin, 5 touchdown passes from Josh
Woo!
Allen. Now that would definitely change the MVP
I welcome
discourse
it.
there. I welcome it as well. My last hot take, however, is going to be that there is a trick play by the Buffalo Bills, whether it's a fake punt, a fake field goal, a lateral pass from a receiver, or a flea flick, or something. Some trick play is going to happen from the Buffalo Bills. I can't remember seeing one at all this season. At
It's been
least,
some
at least,
fixes, but nothing really tricky.
yeah. So I think we'll see a little or a little trick play this week from the Buffalo Bills.
Maybe James Cook throws a touchdown pass to Josh Allen.
That would be awesome. Josh Allen he does have what one is it
One
one career
touchdown
receiving?
pass, reception. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. So, do you have any other hot take? Was that your last hot take, or
I don't know. I
yeah,
was just saying, like part of your thing, a trick play would be like a Philly special type deal where
yeah?
ball ends up in like his hands or knocks his hands and they hit Josh for a touchdown. Um,
Oh, Roy beat you to it, or was commenting it as you said it. It's a Philly special there.
then, so my last hot take. I think we see the first special teams touchdown this year.
Okay, yeah, I could see that. Maybe Dante Hardy returns one, or I can't even remember who's been kick returning because they haven't returned any of the kicks
They've
recently.
mixed it up.
Yeah,
It's been Leonard Fournette, Ty Johnson, Shakir's been back there, Hardy's been back there. They kind of mix it up game to game. Andy Isabella was back there when he played.
they're due. They're definitely due for one. I know we got Roy here's got another one as well. You're asking Gabe Davis will have back-to-back 100 yards. Could very well see that. I know Mama Davis was on Twitter very, very proud of her son last game because he did have a great game. And then now maybe he does go back-to-back. I could definitely see it, especially against the depleted secondary for the Patriots now going into Sunday. So, and then Spin here was talking about the trick plays. I think they tried one against the Chargers, but they blew it up. Yeah, I don't fully remember. Maybe I was driving when it happened. But yeah, I think we could see that. So there's our hot takes. There is our predictions. We do have one question here from Roy from earlier. Has Ty Johnson been cleared to play? I do believe yesterday he was cleared to play. I think he was limited in practice. So he hasn't been full practice, but he has been cleared to play. So that's like the important part is, he's clear. If they need him, he can play. It just depends on how much they might have him play, especially with Leonard Fournette now being in the mix. So
You get unlimited call-ups from the practice squad in the playoffs, right?
I believe you do. I believe it started. I'm trying to remember when it started.
I think it was last year.
Yeah, I think it was last year. So yeah, I mean, I think Ty Johnson has been cleared. I'd love to see him play. I've been very, very pleasantly surprised by Ty Johnson this season. not necessarily thinking I thought he would do horrible, but just doing better than I even thought he would. So Ty Johnson, I'd love to see him back out there. Has been cleared. So yeah, that's all the questions though that I did see. If I did miss him, I apologize. We will get to him next week. Just let us know. But yeah, that's gonna do it so far for us. Izzy, before we hop off, you got any last little message, any last words for Bills Mafia?
Not Happy New Year, guys. Enjoy the game tomorrow. Spend time with family and friends, and love one another and care for another. Show that you do.
Yeah. So yeah, well, that's that pretty much best way to say it there from Izzy. Just have a good one, guys. Be safe. I know it's starting to. I think it might snow tomorrow as well, so I don't think it will be bad. But if it does snow, be safe when driving to the stadium from the stadium, and just have a good time and let's let's see if Bills doing. And I do actually before we hop off, I can see Roy's comment here real quick. Will they have all 4 running backs active for game day?
No.
No, I don't think they will. I think there's if they do, I think if anything, Murray or Fournette will be inactive. But yeah, sorry, just saw that before we were gonna quick hop off here. But appreciate all you guys listening. You guys were awesome again today. Comments were great. Everybody was great for the show. So we'll see you guys next week. Big game next week. Big one next week. So it's gonna be a real fun show. Maybe we might even have a little Dolphins fan on here. One of my buddies might have on here to come talk a little bit of Dolphins. But gonna be a good week of football. Yeah, enjoy the week. And as always, go Bills, and be sure go out and spread some love for me. Go me and Izzy, go spread some love today, tomorrow, the rest of the week. And have a great happy new year. We will see you guys next year.